Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Bob DeMaria, and we are live with another No Meds video for you. And this month, it's Men's Month. It's always intriguing. We've had a wonderful response from individuals asking us questions. We're doing our very best to answer every one of them. So tonight, we're going to be talking about men's health. And it's kind of interesting. It seems like statistically, most men, and they've done statistics, up to 40% of you watching me right now do not even have a healthcare provider, nor have you been to a healthcare provider in the last year or so. And sometimes that's good and sometimes it's not good, because I know a lot of times I've talked to individuals and they don't really want them to be prodded and poked by their healthcare provider. So let's just kind of start with one of the most common topics that I talk about in our practice with our practice members, and that has to do with hair. And what's very interesting to me is many years ago I read a book called Modern Nutrition in Health and Disease by a gentleman by the name of Robert Goodhart. And in the book, he was talking about the studies that they have done with lab animals. Now, gentlemen, I am not saying that any one of you are a lab animal right now, but when they did the research on lab animals, what they found out was when they limited the amount of oil to the laboratory animals had loss of hair. And what's very intriguing as time has gone on, I released Dr. Bob's Guide to Stop ADHD about 15 years ago. And at that time, we did not have the ability to assess oil. So what I learned from this book was how important oil was, not ever putting together. So this is over 15 years ago. I was definitely very aware of the fact that oil, or a deficiency of oil, could be a reason for someone to have hair loss. So I would encourage you all right now, wherever you might be, if you're having some issues that you're starting to notice some hair loss, whether it be male or female, you may consider an essential fatty acid blood spot test. Because if you do not have enough oil, it impacts the hormones in your body. Now, I want to thank all of you that have recently joined the presentation tonight. We are going to have a PDF of Dr. Bob's Men's Health, the Basics. So I need you to send an email off to customercare@druglessdoctor.com. That's customercare@druglessdoctor.com, and write in the subject line, free book. And we will send you a PDF of Dr. Bob's Men's Health, the Basics. And I also know that someone out there tonight will be winning one of our products that we talked about in the month of June. It's going to be a product for liver health. And I know that you'll really thoroughly enjoy that. But we are just briefly talking about hair loss. So if you're starting to noticing that you're losing your hair, and you happen to have a passion addiction to French fries and maybe some other types of novelty foods that do not have the omega-3 fats in them, you just may consider to have the essential fatty acid blood spot test done. Because if you don't have enough oil, you may have subpar hormonal function, including a low thyroid. Because I notice, especially on females, you might start to notice that their hair on the top of their head gets really thin, and you can literally see their skull. So that could be an issue. And I notice more and more young men today that literally are cutting their hair so it's really short, and they're wearing ball caps. And this is almost like epidemic. It's not all of them, and yeah, some of it could be hereditary. But when I see that large number of individuals with thinning hair, that could be an issue. So flax oil, essential fatty acid blood spot test. I would consider having a thyroid panel done, a TSH, a T3, a T4, and a TPO. I'll say that again. A TSH, a T3, a T4, and a TPO. Those are very important markers for the thyroid. If your thyroid gland is subpar, that creates some challenges. And finally, it's stress. Now, the issue with stress, and this is across the board, whether you be male or female, stress causes an acid pH inside of your body. And an acid pH is going to cannibalize muscle or minerals. And an acid pH, if it takes away your minerals, your hair is a mineral. Actually, as a side note, we could actually assess through a mineral tissue analysis, which is hair from the base of your neck, the minerals in your body. It's amazing. It's almost like doing forensic medicine 4 or 5 years out. Now, I know some more of you have joined the presentation. I'd encourage you, if you have any questions, you can type us a question, and we'll do our very best to answer them all for you. So when it comes to hair loss, we definitely need to work on the oil. That's going to be really important. We have to make sure your thyroid gland is functioning optimally. And if you have a lot of stress and the pH in your body happens to be acid, the acid pH is going to cannibalize muscles. So what I want to advance to is one of the books that I wrote was called Dr. Bob's Trans Fat Survival Guide. And in that book, I have a chapter on pain. It's called Winning the Pain Game. And I know so many men who are very active on weekends, but maybe not so much active during the week, may have a pain syndrome. And right now, 126 million Americans woke up once again with pain. And in the book on Dr. Bob's Trans Fat Survival Guide, I talk about in detail what may or may not cause pain. And it really comes down, there could be a lot of reasons for pain. But you might want to take a moment and write this down. I want you to write down the word PG, PG1 and PG3. PG stands for prostaglandin. So PG1 and PG3 take away pain. So they're the prostaglandins involved with pain relief. There's another prostaglandin called PG2. PG2, guess what? It causes pain. Now, the omega-6 fats, that would be like safflower oil and sunflower oil, those are not bad oils, but when you eat a lot of them, especially in snack foods, they could be translated over to PG number 2. So safflower oil and sunflower oil, when consumed not in abundance, becomes something called PG number 1. When you are consuming lots of snack food fats or foods that have safflower oil or sunflower oil in them, that can be transferred over to another fat prostaglandin called PG2, which causes pain. Now, I want to just move on to a thought here. Whatever you eat becomes you. And what I have learned many years ago, 25, 30 years ago, is that fat has everything to do with pain. So the omega-3 fat, which would be like flax oil and marine oils, become something called prostaglandin number 3, which takes away pain. Now, what's significant is that what you eat becomes you. So when you eat, let's say, for example, flax oil, that flax oil has to go through steps to become a prostaglandin. Now, what really is significant is there's something called cofactors. What are cofactors, Dr. Bob? Well, vitamin B6 is a cofactor. Zinc is a cofactor. Magnesium is a cofactor. Okay? So if your cofactors are out of your body for whatever reason, now listen to this, commonly sugar will take cofactors out of the body. So sugar could be a reason most of you who are watching me right now have pain. I have people in our practice every day that I have conversation with that have chronic pain syndromes, and people often wonder, why am I having pain? If you eat sugar, sugar interrupts, this is really important now, sugar interrupts your body's ability to make PG number 1 and PG number 3. They take away pain. Now, for all those of you that have just joined me, we are going to be giving away complimentary a PDF of Dr. Bob's Men's Health, The Basics, which you are going to need to send an email off to customercare@druglessdoctor.com. and write in the word free book. Also, someone's going to win a product to help support liver. And I also want you to know that we will, let me see, free book. Okay, and this are taking questions. And I have a question now. Dr. Bob, my PSA went from 3.4 to 6. Urologist was concerned and did a biopsy of my prostate. Result was benign. My antiphysical a year later showed a PSA of 6. I am taking some products. Should I do anything else? Well, first I want you to know, as my personal disclaimer, we are not here to diagnose any condition, and I'm really not going to give a lot of personal advice per se, but let me talk to you about PSA for a moment. PSA, and that testing that you had done, is a very common marker today. I've done more and more research where individuals say it's really a multi-billion-dollar business to be doing these different biopsies. And I'm not telling anybody not to have a biopsy, but I have learned through my experience that prostates can be impacted if you don't have enough iodine. So my suggestion to whoever wrote that question is you may consider a urine iodine loading test. Because if you don't have enough iodine, you could definitely have some prostate challenges. So that's just one thought process. You do not want to be taking any kind of testosterone, and I would definitely avoid estrogen. So it's a very good question. I would definitely pursue iodine. Now I'm going to switch gears just for a moment because I want to show you something. This is a sign that's been in our neighborhood. It's organic lawn. And now what I'm going to just suggest to that gentleman who just talked about the PSA, and for all of you that are watching me right now, you're going to start seeing more organic lawn signs. What I have noticed with gentlemen, especially golfers, now I'm not telling you not to golf, but what I have noticed with golfers, if they're on the fairway a lot, they're being exposed to estrogen toxins. You can take this a step further. Now you have to listen to my heart on this. Estrogen is everywhere. It's in the water you're drinking. It's in the food you're eating. You want to be doing organic food. Now, if you have a company that comes in and sprays your lawn or makes an application to the lawn, when you and or your pet walk on that lawn, you're getting exposed to toxic chemicals. So you're going to walk on the lawn, I would wear shoes. Now, this is kind of a half-trick question, but the question is this. Is it healthier and safer to go golfing on a Sunday morning when there's still dew on the fairway, or are you better off to ride in the cart on a Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock when it's warm and sunny? Well, the answer really is to go at 2 o'clock on a sunny, warm afternoon because the dew is off of the grass. And see, when you're walking in the yard and you have, or in the yard fairway, you're breathing in those estrogen toxins. Now, listen, if you want to go golfing once in a while, it's not a big deal. But I have people that are in my life that will go golfing 4 or 5 times a week. They're eating conventional meat. That means non-organic. They're eating food out of cans that have BPA in it. You're drinking toxic water. And I could take it a step further. You're driving in cars that have leather seats with toxic pig or cowhide. I know it might seem a little bit far-fetched, but it's just a pattern that we're seeing in our practice. So I talked about sugar. I talked about pain and fat. 126 million Americans today woke up and they had pain. We don't promote aspirin. We don't promote Tylenol. You can get better without those. Those are probably one of the leading causes and reasons that people have to have dialysis and liver and kidney problems. Now, what I want to discuss with you is the thyroid gland for a man. Now, I don't see as many body signals, or I don't see as many thyroid problems in men as I do women, but there are definitely individuals that have subpar thyroid function. Cold hands and cold feet, wide-spaced teeth, thinning hair, high cholesterol, and constipation are body signals for subpar thyroid function. I will say those again. Cold hands and cold feet, wide-spaced teeth, thinning hair, constipation, and high cholesterol. We talk about these both in my men's book and also in the female book, Dr. Bob's Drugless Guide to Balancing Female Hormones. Now, what I would encourage all of you to do, if you haven't already, is this is a shower dechlorinator. And I'd venture to say that most of you that are in the sound of my voice right now in the last 24 to 48 hours, you probably took a shower and you were breathing in chlorine gas. This is a shower dechlorinator. Shower dechlorinators take chlorine out of the shower. When you're taking a shower in a 4x5 glass chamber, you're breathing in chlorine. Chlorine is toxic to the thyroid. I'm bringing this up because a gentleman earlier asked about his PSA that elevated. But I'm learning from my experience, and I've had men who's lowered their PSA by starting to take iodine. Now, in our practice, we use TSH, T3, T4, and TPO. Now write this number down. If your T4, Tom4, is less than the midline, it's very possible that you have subpar thyroid function. And it's very possible you have low thyroid and your body needs iodine. I take 12 milligrams of iodine every day. And why do I take it for? Well, I take it for my thyroid gland, but I also take it for prostate prevention. If you're a gentleman right now listening to me, or if you're the mate of a gentleman, you don't want to be putting on any testosterone on or in your body, because there's something called aromatase that will literally convert your testosterone to estrogen. Not too many people know that. That's one of the reasons, I have another wonderful prop for you right now. That's one of the reasons that your number one food, gentlemen, and I don't want any whining or complaining about this, it should be broccoli. Broccoli is like an essential for everybody. And if you hold your nose at the broccoli, say, I'm not going to eat it, saute it. Saute with some mushrooms and some onions. Eat it raw. I prefer having it slightly sauteed because it's easier to digest. It's going to turn vibrant green. This is probably the best food to lower estrogen in your body. So broccoli and cauliflower are cruciferous vegetables. Now, I mentioned earlier about the prostate biopsy. I am not telling any man out there right now not to have a biopsy. But if you do any research on it, sometimes they go and they start pinching that prostate gland. That can create a lot of distress. So I'm going to encourage all of you, a TSH, a T3, and a T4, have your thyroid gland checked. If your T4 is less than normal, it could be a body signal that you need iodine. Probably the best and most scientific way to do it is with a urine iodine loading test. Basically, with that test, we have you do a pre-test. That means you urinate in a container. You take 50 milligrams of iodine. Actually, it's 48. And then for the next 24 hours, you catch your urine. Then you shake the container up and you send it as a post-test. Your body should excrete it out 95% of that iodine. I commonly see people excrete out about 60%. That means they've held on to about 35%, which means they really are iodine deficient. You may, once we post this, go back and listen to this again, because this is a very important marker for men who have prostate issues. So I also talked about chlorine. Pools, hot tubs, swimming pools. Chlorine, bromine, and fluorine are antagonistic to the thyroid gland. You want to have a good functioning thyroid gland for your hair, because you want to have hair. If you're losing your hair, you're going to want to go back and watch this. You just joined us kind of late. And for all of you who recently joined us, we're going to be giving away a complimentary book called Dr. Bob's Men's Health The Basics. You need to email us at customercare@druglessdoctor.com. We have a few minutes left. If you would like to send us questions, I have about 7 minutes. I'd be happy to do my best to answer your questions. I want to talk to you now about cancer prevention. The number one area, there's a lot of number one areas, so let me talk in general. Lung cancer is common with individuals who smoke cigarettes. Hello, if you don't smoke or secondhand smoke, you reduce your chances of having lung cancer. Probably in a man, if you do any statistics on it, probably one of the leading causes of cancer is the colon. And I really think that sometimes colon function is an issue for men because they don't eat enough cruciferous vegetables. You want to be eating this broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower on a regular basis. I have a mixed green salad every day, and if you followed me any length of time, I talk about Dr. Bob's swap bag. So I'll talk this slowly, grab a piece of paper and a pencil, but I do this every day. A swap bag is a medium carrot. I peel it and I cut it up into small pieces. I consume 2 radishes every day. Radishes are bitter herbs. They're important for your liver and your gallbladder. I get a wedge of red, yellow, orange bell peppers. Like I cut the outer part out and I cut that up and I put it in a bag. I may also put some raw cauliflower in the bag. I also will use 6 small tomatoes. Now, gentlemen, tomatoes are very important for prostate health. So I use those every day. 6 small tomatoes, a half a red apple. I use a half a red apple because it'll lower your cholesterol 13%. I also eat beet fiber. That is not in the swap bag, that's in my salad. So in the swap bag, a medium carrot, stalk of celery, half a red apple, 2 radishes, sometimes a wedge of cucumber, 6 small tomatoes, and some pieces of cauliflower. That's what I eat for mindless, or what I chew on for mindless thinking or mindless eating. But see, it's going to help your bowels move. You want to be pooping 2 or 3 times every day. And by eating those vegetables, that's going to help purify the system. You want to be drinking enough water. Probably the most overlooked organ in the whole body happens to be the liver. In the human body, the oil filter is your liver. It's located right underneath your right rib cage, below your right breast. So it's below that bony tissue. This gland, this organ, is key for long-term health and wellness. Why? Because this processes the toxins. So I was talking a moment ago about the prostate gland and how to prevent cancer, because see, gentlemen, there's something that I want to share with you, is that women have a pathway to process estrogen. You don't. Men don't have a natural process to eliminate the estrogen as the same magnitude that women do. This is the problem. Your liver is designed to process toxins, but gentlemen, you are being exposed to estrogen everywhere. It's in the water you drink, the air you breathe. You say, come on, Dr. Bob, the air you breathe? Yeah, I'll tell you about that in a moment. The food you're consuming. So if you are noticing that you're passive, your breasts are starting to grow, you're peeing 16 times a night because your prostate's enlarged, what's happening to you is too much estrogen. Now, I know that most men don't cry easy, but there are some that do. So if you cry easy, that's a body signal to me that you need B vitamins. Your liver needs B vitamins to process the estrogen. So I was half joking just a moment ago about the air you breathe. And I learned this from an acquaintance of mine. This person happened to be a colon therapist, and we were just chit-chatting one day. And this person made a very interesting comment to me. The person said, Dr. Bob, do you know that if you can get estrogen from the vapors from the leather seats in your vehicle? And I kind of like, come on. And basically this person said, do you think that they use organic pigs to use for the leather for a car? And I thought, well, no. So I had somebody else in my life said to me, they recently were going to lease or purchase a new vehicle, and they kind of had this eye in the headlight look like a deer in the headlight, and said, you know what, Dr. Bob, I went and just signed some papers for a new vehicle, and the salesman said it's an all-natural car, and I thought he was just like playing with my head. But now I understand. So for those of you that are listening to me right now, you can literally be breathing in these toxic fumes. And I'm going to tell you right now, you don't want a candle burning in your house that comes from these big box stores or from some of these novelty stores, because those scented candles have petrochemicals in them, and you're breathing that in your body. It is an issue. So that was very significant for cancer prevention. I talked about the yard already. I'm going to repeat this because this needs to be repeated. Where we live, we're seeing more places have and use organic lawn care. If you have a traditional, brand new, typical American lawn service applying chemicals to you, you're putting estrogen in your body when you walk on that grass. The same with your pets. Do you ever wonder why your pets get cancer? Well, you're walking them on yards that are sprayed. And it's just not one walk. This is all over time. So, canned food and breathing in toxic pig fumes, it's not going to happen over a week. I'm talking when you're 55 years old and you're wondering what's going on, why they get cancer, because for the last 35 years, you've been living in a toxic cesspool. This is serious stuff. I want you to be eating your broccoli. And if you're a woman watching me right now and your husband's not listening, or he has any issues, This is simple tips. And where we live, we're having more and more people that are using organic lawn care, all right? So if you have a question, text it over to us or send it over to us. I have about 1 minute before I cannot answer any questions. We already answered one about PSA. I want to talk to you about erectile dysfunction. This is also something that's very intriguing. When I went to college, and I went to college in the 1970s, and they used to call it impotence, and now they call it ED. You know, like everything has these, it's erectile dysfunction. Well, you guys, I watch TV like you do also. When they have these sports and they have the sexy lady on the bed, and she's looking at you, sensually talking, and then she says, hey, half of you watching me right now don't even have enough testosterone to arrive at and obtain and maintain an erection. So then they cite the Massachusetts study. So what I want you to do is go to your favorite search engine after I'm done and type in the Massachusetts study and ED, and that there is studies that have been done that a large number of men over 40 years old have health challenges when it comes to erectile dysfunction. And I'm going to tell you, erectile dysfunction can be caused by a lot of things. Number one, what kind of medications are you on? Now, I don't have an hour to talk to you about cholesterol and the heart meds, but if you eat Dr. Bob's ABCs, half an apple every day, third cup of beet fiber and a medium carrot, you'll lower your cholesterol. I don't have a license to take anybody off of any drugs, but I'm going to tell you, if you're taking a cholesterol medication right now, it's going to impair probably with your ability to obtain and maintain an erection. The same thing is going to happen with any kind of heart medication that you might be on and antidepressants. Now, you may consider, and I have people who come to see us from all over the United States, if you're on a lot of medications, and once again, I don't have a license to take you off, but if you're taking any kind of heart med, you might need to sit back and evaluate what's going on. Beta blockers will definitely impair your ability to obtain and maintain an erection. So how do you go about solving that riddle? Well, you could take an herb called tribulus. You could take an herb called maca root. There's something that we use in our practice called argizyme. But I don't want any of you watching me at any other time to start taking testosterone. You see, testosterone can be converted to estrogen in your body, and you don't want that to happen. And we are having a major issue with that right now. And I don't want any of you, male or female, young or old, animal or not, to be consuming soy, because soy disrupts the whole pattern. So if you don't want to have erectile dysfunction, you don't want to do soy, and you don't have to use Cialis or any of these other products. You just got to get your physiology back to normal. That's one of the reasons that we are talking the way that we do. So let me tie some of this together for you, okay? First, if you'd like to receive a complimentary book, Dr. Bob's Men's Health The Basics, send an email off to customercare@druglessdoctor.com. Put the word free book in the subject line, and we'd be happy to pass that on to you. I know that soon I'm going to be texted whoever would have won the product that we're going to be doing as our giveaway tonight as far as liver health in a man. Hair loss, I want you to think of the thyroid gland. Make sure you're taking enough oil. If you have chronic pain in your body, get your hand out of the cookie jar, okay? Because sugar will cause pain. I went into great detail that sugar interrupts the formation of something called prostaglandin number 3. Gentlemen, cold hands and cold feet, a sign for subpar thyroid function. I'd encourage you a TSH, a T3, and a T4. If you're concerned about your prostate gland, you may consider a urine iodine loading test. The urine iodine loading test is a very important marker for us to help assist you with proper function in that arena. This liver is significant to help prevent long-term cancer issue. Liver is the key. You want to eat broccoli. So for all the foods that any man can eat, you want to eat broccoli, anything organic. I would eat at least a fourth to a half an avocado every day. You want to eat as much green food that you can, because green food puts magnesium in your body, which is also important for heart function. I would eat non-starchy green vegetables, organic meat products. I would avoid as many grains as you can. I'm not telling you I don't ever eat grains, but I really am aware. And I would really watch the amount of alcohol you consume. If you're going to drink alcohol, consume organic wine. I haven't consumed alcohol since 1991. Great talk. Thank you for participating. What I'm going to encourage you to do is watch this over again, and once it comes out, pass it on to a friend. Thank you. Looking forward to catching up with you on the last Wednesday in July. Goodbye, everyone.